The middle-aged man's face instantly turned pale. Without any hesitation, he swiftly retreated, raising his hands and making gestures in front of him. Immediately, the scorpion mark on his forehead began to squirm rapidly, as if it had come halfway to life, radiating an eerie, otherworldly glow. But at that very moment, Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He raised his right hand and pointed forward. As his finger extended, the very heavens seemed to change color, the winds and clouds reversing course. The roar of thunder echoed through the world, and suddenly, boundless thunderclouds appeared in the sky above the cultivation star. With Wang Lin's finger lowered, the thunderclouds rumbled and a colossal bolt of lightning, several feet wide, came crashing down at an unimaginable speed. In the instant the middle-aged man retreated, it struck directly from the sky with a thunderous crash, hitting him on the top of his head. A storm-like destructive force surged through the man's crown and into his body. Within the deafening roar of thunder, the sound of his flesh tearing and bones shattering echoed. His primordial spirit was completely annihilated. When the thunder ceased, the middle-aged man seemed to evaporate into nothingness, vanishing without a trace, as if he had never existed. As the thunder faded, a deathly silence enveloped the surroundings. The many cultivators who had fled from the abandoned city stood, eyes wide with horror and shock, their gaze fixed on Wang Lin, their eyes filled with overwhelming fear. With a casual wave of his hand, the winds and clouds surged, and thunder descended, obliterating an indeficiency cultivator's body and spirit in an instant, leaving no trace behind. Such divine arts were enough to shake the heavens, stunning all the cultivators who witnessed it and creating a massive uproar. The gaunt elder, who had been imprisoned nearby, was also pale with terror. He couldn't even catch his breath as he stared blankly at the scene, his face filled with disbelief. Even Zhang Dahong, though he had seen Wang Lin display his power in the lightning thunderclam before, couldn't help but shudder upon witnessing it again. A feeling of unparalleled strength and invincibility arose within him. Wang Lin's expression showed no change. Though he was being pursued and had temporarily taken refuge in the land of falling stars, if it had been anyone else, they would have likely chosen to avoid confrontation. But Wang Lin's cultivation was vast, and his life had been fraught with numerous dangers, walking the fine line between life and death several times. Even if his pursuers found him, so what? Even if powerful enemies were drawn to him, he wouldn't care. He would never stand by when his servants were harmed. As he had said before, "You can endure, but I cannot." There are few in this world who can make him endure. Wang Lin now was no longer the same person. He had become a powerful being, with the heart of a true strongman. They say that when a tiger falls into the plains, it's bullied by dogs, and when a dragon swims in shallow waters, it's played with by shrimp. But the truth behind this is that the tiger allows itself to be bullied, and the dragon allows itself to be played with. If they refused, who would dare approach? Having killed the middle-aged man, the matter was far from over. Since he had already acted, he would strike like thunder, destroying any budding threats. Wang Lin's right foot stamped on the ground. The top layer of the pagoda shook violently, and cracks spread from the point where his foot landed, expanding outward with a deafening roar. In the blink of an eye, the ground turned into a web of fractures. With a huge crash, the top layer of the pagoda collapsed. Zhang Dahong grabbed the gaunt elder, and the two of them floated in midair, staring blankly below. In the midst of the collapsing pagoda, Wang Lin's body sank, directly entering the second-to-top layer. As soon as he landed, countless debris filled the air, and suddenly, a fierce, murderous flame erupted. A low growl came from within, and at the same time, a dim light shot straight toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. As the light neared, he casually raised his right hand and grasped forward. Instantly, a massive illusory hand appeared before him, gripping the light tightly. No matter how the light struggled, it couldn't break free. Within the illusory hand, the light flickered violently, revealing a purple orb. The aura of death emanated from the orb, its glow intensifying as it prepared to explode. Dark Scorpion Pearl, explode. A low growl echoed out, and the orb began to spin with destructive power. Just as it was about to explode, Wang Lin squeezed his right hand tightly. With a thunderous boom, the orb shattered, releasing a tremendous shockwave that obliterated the entire layer of the pagoda. Within the dust cloud, the young man who had been referred to as the young master by the middle-aged man turned pale, retreating swiftly, but his eyes remained fixed on the scene ahead, revealing a look of shock. This pearl is quite mystical. Wang Lin's cold voice emerged from within the dust cloud. At the same time, his figure emerged unscathed, slowly walking forward. The moment he appeared, the young man's expression turned to one of disbelief, his scalp tingling, nearly causing his soul to scatter. He knew all too well that the power of a dark scorpion pearl, when used in a sneak attack, was enough to injure a glimpse of Nirvana cultivator. Yet, the other party casually squeezed it, fully absorbing the power of the dark scorpion pearl, and remained unscathed. This left the young man trembling. Just as he was about to flee in horror, Wang Lin waved his right hand. Immediately, a net of electric light appeared, swiftly enveloping the young man's entire body. As it contracted, the young man let out a horrific scream as his body lost all resistance, unable to escape, floating in midair as if sealed. Wang Lin didn't even glance at him, stepping forward and stamping his right foot on the ground, advancing to the next level. As he entered, he swung his sleeve, and a sea of flames roared to life, crashing into the two elders who were preparing to charge forward. The flames slammed into them, sending them staggering back with violent shudders, blood spitting from their mouths. The flames burned into their bodies, sealing them and sending them floating into the air. They really do seem to like lurking in the dark cracks underground, just like scorpions. Yet they still haven't all appeared. Wang Lin said calmly, stepping into the next level. With each level he descended, the tower echoed with constant rumblings and the heart-wrenching screams of more Dark Scorpion clan members. After being sealed, they were thrown into the air, and before long, the number of Dark Scorpion clan members floating in the sky had grown into the dozens. "You are bullying us too much." As Wang Lin continued his descent, a furious roar suddenly erupted from the deepest, final level of the tower, buried deep underground. At the same time, a tremendous force surged from the bottom, forming a violent storm that rushed straight toward Wang Lin, who was on the middle level of the tower. This storm, like a tidal wave, tore through the tower, crashing upward, layer after layer, and in an instant, a stronger force fused with it, forming an even more powerful impact. The ground under Wang Lin's feet was torn apart with a loud explosion. The storm, now clearly visible, revealed an illusory black scorpion nearly 10 meters in size. It had been conjured by divine powers, and upon appearing, it charged directly toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, but his body did not retreat. He clenched his right fist, and all the power of the ancient god surged into it. Just as the illusory scorpion was about to close in, Wang Lin threw a punch. As soon as his fist struck, an ancient god phantom appeared behind him, also throwing a punch that collided with the scorpion. A deafening explosion rang out, shaking the heavens and the earth. An indescribable shockwave spread in all directions, changing the color of the sky. The ground trembled, and even the cultivation star itself seemed to shudder, with dust rising in many places. With a tremendous crash, the tower's exposed portions shook violently, and cracks appeared with a series of sharp snaps. The shockwave spread, causing the tower to collapse into countless pieces. Even the hidden parts buried underground immediately shattered, collapsing and sending the ground into a violent upheaval. Waves like the ocean's surface rose, expanding outward in a grandiose manner. Amidst the collapse, dozens of cultivators were hurled out of the destroyed tower, their faces pale as they coughed up blood. They looked at Wang Lin with overwhelming terror. Cultivators watching from the surroundings quickly retreated, completely shocked by the scene they had never witnessed before. In the center of the collapsed tower, Wang Lin stood motionless. His clothes were whipped by the wind, the sound of them flapping in the air. His long hair floated around him. Yet, his body didn't budge. He withdrew his right hand and calmly looked down at the ground beneath him, speaking coldly, "You harm my subordinates, and you call that bullying? You're all too weak." Below Wang Lin, a massive pit, roughly 1,000 meters in diameter, was revealed. The once hidden tower now lay shattered, and the depths of the pit were exposed. At the bottom of the pit, sitting cross-legged on a shattered piece of blue stone, was an elder in black robes, embroidered with a sinister scorpion. Strangely, this scorpion had 9 tails. In the center of the elder's forehead was also a scorpion mark, though it was weaker than the embroidered one on his robe. The clan-marked scorpion only had 4 tails. The 4 scorpion tails hung down over the elder's face, giving him a fearsome appearance. But at this moment, the elder's face was pale. After coughing up blood, he suddenly looked up with fierce eyes, and his body shot up into the air, heading straight for Wang Lin. "Though my Dark Scorpion clan is a small clan, we are one of the 372 clans recognized in the Land of Falling Stars. Today, by opposing my clan, you are making an enemy of the entire Land of Falling Stars. The fallen emperor will certainly not spare you. Only the second decay of heaven and man, and you dare to speak like this in front of me?" Wang Lin's expression was calm, his gaze as sharp as lightning, landing directly in the old man's eyes. His right eye flashed with thunder, and instantly the heavens roared. The old man's expression changed drastically. In his eyes, the opponent had disappeared, replaced instead by a bolt of thunder. The thunder descended from the heavens, piercing through his eyes and directly into his mind. Fourth decay of heaven and man. This is definitely the power of the fourth decay of heaven and man. Damn it, how did our Dark Scorpion clan provoke such a powerful old monster? The old man was about to retreat, but Wang Lin swung his sleeve, raised his right hand, and grasped the air. Immediately, the old man sensed the surrounding powers of heaven and earth surging like crazy, as though in an instant, the entire world was being manipulated by the opponent, turning into an invisible cage that relentlessly squeezed towards him from all directions. A loud thumping echoed from within his body, and intense pain flooded him, as if his bones were about to shatter. The threat of death loomed over him. The old man dared not retreat further. He had a premonition that if he did, he would surely die. In that instant, without thinking, he lifted his right hand and slapped his forehead. In that moment, his clan mark on his forehead began to twist in an eerie manner. Suddenly, 4 scorpions detached from the old man's forehead and appeared in front of him. They swiftly grew to a size of 100 meters, their 4 tails swinging wildly, creating a thundering sound. This giant scorpion let out a savage cry, and as its tails formed after images, they rushed towards Wang Lin. The old man was still not reassured. With gritted teeth, he grasped the air with his right hand and swung it forward. Immediately, eerie light appeared, and within an instant, over 100 puppets emerged, surrounding Wang Lin from all sides. Each of the puppets exuded an aura equivalent to a yin deficiency cultivator with a solid yang, and upon their appearance, they immediately surrounded Wang Lin. All puppets explode. The old man roared with a vicious expression. As soon as he shouted, he retreated without hesitation. Wang Lin coldly sneered, not even glancing at the 4-tailed scorpions or the hundreds of puppets. He stepped forward, and in an instant, he vanished without a trace. The old man was quickly retreating, but his body suddenly trembled. As he retreated, Wang Lin's figure emerged from the void. Casually, Wang Lin raised his right index finger and pointed it directly at the old man's forehead. The shadow of death enveloped the old man, and fear filled his eyes. He tried to dodge, but the gap in their strength made it impossible for him to escape. He could only watch as the finger approached his brow. The moment the finger was still some distance from him, the air around it surged with a deafening roar, rushing into the old man's body. Boom! The old man's body shook violently, and his soul was forcibly shaken out of his body by the power of the strike. His soul floated in the air, frozen in place, terror evident in his eyes, hinting at a desire to beg for mercy. The 4-tailed scorpion dissipated at the same time, turning into a faint light that returned to the old man's forehead, forming an imprint. Having lost his soul, the old man's body curled into a half-arc and was violently thrown backward, blood splattering as he slammed into the ground with a loud thud, sending dust flying. Still trying to escape? Wang Lin placed his index finger on the old man's soul and spoke coldly. Just the breath contained in your fingertip could force my soul out of my body and leave me heavily wounded. If that finger strikes me, I will surely be obliterated, both my body and soul. This person is not merely at the 4th decay of heaven and man. The old man's soul trembled, and he shook his head repeatedly. His soul was on the verge of shattering. The power in that fingertip had left him without any will to resist. The finger hadn't even touched his forehead, but the mere presence of it made his soul tremble uncontrollably. From now on, your Dark Scorpion clan will bow to me as your master and obey all my commands, or your entire clan will be annihilated. Wang Lin withdrew his finger and coldly glanced at the old man's soul. The old man trembled violently, nodding repeatedly and whispering, "The land of falling stars respects the strong. Having such a powerful master to protect us is the blessing of our Dark Scorpion clan. All 176 members of our clan will follow the master's commands, and none will dare to defy them. Master, we cannot just take his word for it. Let them swear the oath of the ancient clan alliance with their clan marks. If they break the oath, their clan marks will backfire, leaving them without a burial place. For all eternity, the Dark Scorpion clan will be wiped out." Zhang Dahong's eyes flickered as he immediately spoke. Hearing Zhang Dahong's words, the old man's body trembled. He shot Zhang Dahong a venomous glare, but the malice quickly dissipated, replaced by bitterness. He nodded and said, "Fine, I will swear the oath of the ancient clan alliance with my clan mark, pledging to serve you as master. If I betray this oath, my clan mark will backfire, and I will die without a grave." The moment his words left his mouth, the clan mark on his forehead emitted a faint light. The four-tailed scorpion seemed to be in great pain, letting out a silent scream before wilting. However, a withered mark slowly appeared on the scorpion's body, like a brand being seared into it. The surrounding members of the Dark Scorpion clan had personally witnessed everything that had occurred. When Wang Lin swept his wide sleeve and lifted the seal, they looked at him, including the one they referred to as the young master, with unmistakable fear in their eyes. They all swore oaths using their clan marks. Thus, the Dark Scorpion clan of this land of falling stars became the first ancient clan to submit to Wang Lin. Wang Lin's cave mansion became a sacred site for the Dark Scorpion clan. With clan members gathered around it, they used spells to transform the surrounding area into a desert. From that moment on, this place would be the new territory of the Dark Scorpion clan on the cultivation star. The elder surnamed Zhang, having witnessed Wang Lin's overwhelming strength, was deeply shaken and had already made up his mind to follow Zhang Dahong no matter what, hoping to establish a connection. As for Zhang Dahong himself, he was trembling all over. With his cultivation at the spirit transformation stage, he now ran rampant within the Dark Scorpion clan. There are 372 minor clans in the Land of Falling Stars. Our Dark Scorpion clan is among the lowest ranks, controlling only this abandoned cultivation star, with very few clansmen remaining. The ancient stars are governed by the Council of Elders, while here in the Land of Falling Stars, it's the Falling Life Society that holds power. The society has 13 elders, who are the true rulers of this place. As for the one I mentioned earlier, the Fallen Emperor, he is the one who manipulates the entire society from behind the scenes. The Fallen Emperor is extremely mysterious and is rumored to be a third-step great power. Because of his existence, this region is free from the Council of Elders' control. The elders of the Falling Life Society are not permanent. Once every 100 years, there's a chance to challenge them. Whoever wins can become one of the 13. Rumor has it that throughout the ages, the Council of Elders has secretly sent many cultivators here to vie for those positions, but none have ever succeeded. Every one of them mysteriously died before the challenge could even begin. If one doesn't intend to become an elder of the Falling Life Society, then there's no threat to their life. At this point, the Dark Scorpion Elder glanced at Wang Lin. Standing respectfully within Wang Lin's cave mansion, he relayed everything he knew in detail. As for the puppets you mentioned, Master, they can only be purchased on cultivation stars controlled by clans tied to the Falling Life Society. The puppets owned by our Dark Scorpion clan were all bought from those places. However, the stronger the puppet, the harder it is to acquire. Regular cultivators won't sell them. Only those clans in the Land of Falling Stars are qualified to buy them. It is said that the method to make these puppets was passed down from the mysterious Land of Falling Stars itself. Only the 13 elders of the Falling Life Society know the true method. Among all the puppets owned by the Dark Scorpion clan, the strongest is one at the mid-pure nirvana stage. Its value is astronomical. If taken outside the Land of Falling Stars, it could easily be exchanged for countless magical artifacts and pills. As he spoke, the elder tapped the clan mark on his forehead. A flash of ghostly light appeared, and beside him stood a puppet that looked like a middle-aged man. The puppet's expression was lifeless, but at first glance, it was nearly indistinguishable from a real human. Only a closer look would reveal the complete lack of vitality. Its entire body was covered in countless seals, making it impossible to see inside. Wang Lin's eyes flickered as he carefully studied the puppet. After a moment of silence, he slowly asked, "Are there any puppets at the Shattered Nirvana stage in the Land of Falling Stars?" The elder hesitated, then after a long pause, quietly replied, "Yes, there are." Wang Lin's heart stirred, but his expression remained calm. He continued in a measured tone, "Oh? Then are there any puppets related to the heavenly decay tribulation?" The elder was silent for an even longer time before replying in a low voice, "This. I do not know for certain, but there are rumors that someone has seen a puppet undergoing the heavenly decay tribulation, though whether it's true or not, no one knows." A sharp light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He hadn't expected that within this mysterious Land of Falling Stars and the ancient star of antiquity, such unbelievable things would exist. A puppet tied to the heavenly decay tribulation, that was simply staggering. If even those exist, then could there also be puppets of third-step great powers? Wang Lin did not voice this thought aloud. It was too absurd. He didn't believe such a thing could be real. What is the standing of the Fire Sparrow clan in this place? Wang Lin asked after a brief pause. As one of the great ancient clans, the Fire Sparrow clan has sent many members here over the years. Their numbers have grown to several hundred. While most know they were sent by the Fire Sparrow clan, because they have never participated in the Elder selection, they've remained safe. They've built relationships with other clans, engaged in puppet trade, and secretly gathered flame crystals. Every so often, they send them back to their clan. Flame crystals. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. These are unique to the land of falling stars. Rumor has it the fallen emperor brought them here. They're said to be one of the materials used to craft puppets. However, they are extremely rare. I happen to have a small piece, and I would be honored to offer it to you. The elder hesitated, then turned over his right hand and took out a grain-sized piece of white sand. Wang Lin reached out with a grasping motion, and the white sand appeared in his hand. After examining it closely, his pupils suddenly contracted, but his expression quickly returned to normal. You may go. Gather every piece of information on the Fire Sparrow clan in this place and report it to me in full detail. With a wave of his hand, Wang Lin dismissed the elder, who immediately bowed in respect and retreated. After his departure, the door of the cave mansion slammed shut with a loud bang, and Wang Lin immediately placed a restriction seal on it. He then lowered his head sharply and stared intensely at the white sand-like stone in his hand. His eyes grew brighter and brighter, and a hint of shock began to show on his face. Flame crystal. So it's called the flame crystal. As the old sacred emperor of the Vermilion Bird once said, the Four Saints sect originated from the ancient stars beyond the realm, before eventually entering the inner realm. It seems his words were indeed true. This flame crystal was brought here by that mysterious fallen emperor. Why would the fallen emperor have this item? Could it be? Could it be? Wang Lin's eyes suddenly gleamed, and an uncontrollable excitement appeared on his face. In the Alliance Star Domain, where the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect is located, deep within the burning starry sky, a massive white stone floated. This was the place where the old sacred emperor of the Vermilion Bird once meditated. The object known as the flame crystal in the land of falling stars was identical to the white stone of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. Could it be that the fallen emperor is somehow connected to the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect? Wang Lin didn't have strong feelings for the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, but the old sacred emperor had once given him a chance at rebirth, a debt of gratitude he would never forget. Especially when he considered the old sacred emperor's unwavering integrity and his silent dedication over thousands of years, Wang Lin could not help but feel a deep respect. To Wang Lin, the old sacred emperor was similar to the guardian of the sealed realm. One protected the Four Saints sect, and the other protected the entire inner realm. As he gazed at the flame crystal, Wang Lin's expression flickered with a touch of excitement as he recalled the old sacred emperor's words before his journey into the abyss of oblivion. I am Lu Yun, born during the ancient qi refining era. I spent my youth serving as the medicine attendant to the fourth-generation sacred emperor. I was honored to be taught the qi refining technique. At the age of 1372, I made some progress in my cultivation and followed the sacred emperor, witnessing the glory of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. At 11,463 years old, the Rune clan came from the outer realm, disturbing the world. The Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect helped the immortal realm to battle the Rune clan. After this battle, the fourth sacred emperor and the other three great sacred emperors went into the outer realm and have never been heard from again. Before leaving, the fourth sacred emperor named me the fifth sacred emperor. Wang Lin's gaze remained fixed on the tiny flame crystal, his eyes flickering. The fourth sacred emperor and the others went into the outer realm, and we never heard from them again. But now, this fallen emperor possesses this object from the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. Could the fourth sacred emperor have arrived at this land of falling stars? But the timeline doesn't quite match. Wang Lin suppressed his initial excitement and slowly began to think, unable to come to a definitive conclusion. After a long time, he let out a deep breath. This matter will eventually be resolved. I never expected that such a secret would be hidden in the land of falling stars. If this place is truly related to the fourth sacred emperor, perhaps I can use this opportunity to awaken the Vermilion Bird for the fourth time. I could transition from solid flame state to ethereal flame, igniting the fury of all my enemies, causing them to burn and die in self-destruction. In that case, although the flame origin is not yet perfected, its power would far exceed that of the current solid flame heaven. And this flame crystal, which I could not comprehend in the past, with my strength after the third awakening of the Vermilion Bird, can now unleash the destructive power to obliterate the heavens. Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and with a flick of his wrist, he placed the tiny flame crystal into his storage dimension. In his storage dimension, there was also a stone statue. This statue was made from the physical body of the old sacred emperor of the vermilion bird, maintaining the posture of a hand placed on his brow, exuding a sense of ancient time. Wang Lin's divine sense swept over the stone statue, and after a moment of silence, he turned his attention to a nearby puppet. The puppet was a middle-aged man, standing motionless, like a lifeless figure. Wang Lin stared at the puppet, sending out his divine sense, which instantly enveloped the puppet's entire body. It felt as though countless fine needles pierced into the puppet's body. Wang Lin's divine sense carefully entered, searching inch by inch, trying to uncover the puppet's secret. Time passed slowly, and Wang Lin's expression gradually grew more solemn. The puppet had no flesh or blood, but instead was made of some strange crystal. This crystal resembled particles and was very soft, which formed the puppet's body. As for the puppet's bones, they were also made of crystal, but they were incredibly hard and faintly radiated boundless primordial energy. Inside the puppet, a soft light filled the air, a light so tenacious that when Wang Lin's divine sense attempted to enter, it was immediately repelled with immense force. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and he expanded his divine sense into a raging storm, crashing through the puppet's body and heading straight for the protective light inside. With a loud boom, the puppet trembled, and Wang Lin suddenly stood up, staring at the puppet. He knew that his entire divine sense could destroy the puppet, but he could not penetrate the protective barrier. If he hadn't retracted his divine sense earlier, that protective light would have erupted, causing all the secrets inside to collapse and prevent any foreign divine sense from entering. Wang Lin's eyes flickered, and his expression turned grave as he fell into deep thought. This puppet is rather interesting. With a swift motion of his right hand, he reached out into the empty air, and the puppet immediately flew to him, landing 3 feet away. It allowed Wang Lin's right hand to easily press against the puppet's chest. Again, he released his divine sense, guiding it through his hand into the puppet's body. Just as he was about to further explore its interior, he was suddenly jolted, letting out a soft hum. There are actually meridians within this puppet. At such close range, as he touched it and spread his divine sense, he noticed something he had overlooked earlier. Inside the puppet, in place of flesh and blood, he saw several meridians that were nearly completely hidden and had shriveled to a point where they were hard to detect. This! Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with sharp intelligence, and he gasped, taking a closer look, only to reveal shock in his gaze. This isn't a puppet. It's a cultivator. This is a puppet created by some method after forcibly refining a cultivator. Wang Lin silently stared at the puppet. The puppet's appearance remained expressionless, with vacant eyes devoid of any life or spirit. The particles replacing the puppet's flesh and blood, they feel somewhat familiar, as if I've seen them somewhere before. After contemplating for a moment, Wang Lin's eyes glinted with determination. The secret of this puppet must be hidden beneath that protective light. Only by seeing inside can one truly understand. Suddenly, his divine sense surged, and his right eye sparkled with thunderous energy. In an instant, the thunder diagram erupted behind him. In the cave mansion, a powerful thunderclap rapidly filled the space, creating a thunderous roar as it spread outward. Lightning darted about, and the booming thunder resonated through the earth, causing the dark scorpion clan members outside to turn pale, gazing in shock toward the cave. With the thunder diagram manifested, Wang Lin's cultivation surged, and his divine sense spiraled into a frenzied storm, directly crashing into the puppet's body, targeting that protective light. With a resounding collision, the protective light within the puppet collapsed under the overwhelming force of his divine sense. However, in that moment of collapse, it offered no chance for anyone to glimpse the interior. It began to unravel simultaneously. But at that instant, Wang Lin's eyes flashed fiercely, and he shouted, "Freeze!" This single command immobilized the movement of heaven and earth, halting all change. The puppet trembled violently. Everything inside it froze, except for that protective glow, which only slightly wavered before collapsing with a loud bang. Along with the collapsing protective light, the puppet itself burst apart, unleashing a shockwave that spread throughout the mountain peak, crashing against the surrounding walls with violent echoes. The mountain trembled, and clouds of dust were kicked up. If it weren't for the restrictions Wang Lin had set in place, this mountain would have been reduced to rubble, and even the cultivation star would have been dramatically shaken, cracking open. The surrounding dark scorpion clan cultivators looked fearfully at the cave, enveloped in silence. The dark scorpion elder wore a bittersweet smile. From the collapsing shockwave, he sensed a familiar aura, understanding that the clan's puppet was likely destroyed. Inside the cave, dust swirled and gradually settled as Wang Lin remained standing there, his eyes shining with immense clarity. The moment his immobilization technique arrested the collapse of the protective light, although brief, it allowed him to catch a glimpse of the inner secrets. Within, he saw a floating essence spirit. Its appearance was identical to that of the puppet. This discovery left Wang Lin no room for doubt. This puppet was indeed a cultivator. Moreover, at the instant the puppet was destroyed, the particles replacing the flesh scattered, igniting a flash of realization in Wang Lin's mind reminiscent of previous encounters with familiar origins. He recalled seeing an ancient god's head in the territory of the Alliance star domain, which had been severed, leaving behind crystalline particles at the wound. Those particles bore a striking resemblance to the flesh of this puppet. Even in Wang Lin's storage pouch, he still had a small vial containing those particles taken from the head wound of the ancient god. A glimpsed connection flickered in Wang Lin's mind, but it was chaotic and hard to analyze. Fallen Emperor. Who exactly is this person? Wang Lin murmured, stepping forward as the cave door creaked open with a loud rumble, allowing him to walk out. Elder Scorpion, lead the way to the nearest cultivation star where the Falling Life Society's elder is. Wang Lin strode forward, and as soon as he finished speaking, the Dark Scorpion elder hurriedly responded with respect, taking flight to guide him. At this very moment, beyond the land of falling stars, a ripple spread through the starry sky, distorting space. From within it emerged a middle-aged man, none other than Simaja, who had been pursuing Wang Lin. His eyes were cold and gleaming with a strange light, his powerful cultivation swirling around him as he looked toward the star domain ahead, one that lay beyond the Council of Elders' control. Grand Diviner Yin Luo calculated that he's hiding within the land of falling stars. This place is a chaotic mix of powers. I must tread carefully. Fortunately, I came here in the past and have ties with the 9th Elder of the Falling Life Society, the chief of the Dragon Armor Tribe. By using the identity of the Dragon Armor Tribe, I should be able to move freely. While musing to himself, Simaja's figure flickered and shot toward the land of falling stars. I must find him quickly, alive or dead. I'll search his soul and uncover the secret of activating the Gate of Void without the use of devotional power. Throughout the journey, Wang Lin spoke little. The two turned into streaks of light, departing the cultivation star of the Dark Scorpion clan and speeding across the starry expanse. In his silent advance, Wang Lin's thoughts kept replaying the images of the puppet from earlier. Something was stirring in his mind, faint and obscured, as if behind a veil of mist he couldn't pierce. The Dragon Armor Tribe may be small, but they still have thousands of members. The 9th Elder, their chief, has already reached the 4th decay of heaven and man. Once he activates the tribe's clan mark and unleashes the Dragon Armor divine ability, ordinary cultivators simply can't break through his defenses. Within the Falling Life Society, this Dragon Armor Elder has quite the reputation. Even a clan like ours, the Dark Scorpion clan, dares not show the slightest disrespect. The Dark Scorpion Elder lowered his voice, carefully explaining to Wang Lin all he knew about the Dragon Armor Tribe. That flame crystal. Is it sold on the Dragon Armor Tribe's primary star? Wang Lin asked slowly after a long silence. It is, but the Fire Sparrow clan aggressively hoards it. Whenever one appears, they'll pay any price to snatch it up, making it hard for others to compete. Also, to buy the item, or a puppet, you'd need to visit the marketplace established by the Dragon Armor Tribe, the Dark Scorpion Elder quickly explained. Both men had formidable cultivation, and with their speed unleashed, they crossed the Star's Cape in just a few hours, far away now from the cultivation star of the Dark Scorpion clan. In the distance, at the edge of Wang Lin's sight, loomed a green-hued cultivation star. It radiated a rich vitality and was surrounded by dense spiritual energy, vastly exceeding that of the Dark Scorpion clan star. As they approached, 3 streaks of sword light shot out from the green star, heading straight for them in the blink of an eye. Leading the 3 was an elder dressed in a green robe, who smiled and cupped his fist from afar. The elders predicted that the Scorpion tribe chief would be arriving soon. They sent us to await your arrival. Please, follow us inside. The 2 figures behind the elder also cupped their fists politely. Though the Dark Scorpion clan wasn't part of the Council of Elders, it was still one of the 372 clans and not to be slighted. Smiling, the elder nodded and returned the gesture. He let Wang Lin go ahead while he followed behind, guided by the 3 members of the Dragon Armor tribe as they flew toward the cultivation star. Seeing the Scorpion tribe chief act so deferentially, the 3 Dragon Armor cultivators were visibly surprised. The leading elder's eyes flickered as he sized up Wang Lin. Though he didn't notice anything unusual, he made a mental note of it. For the Scorpion tribe chief to treat him with such respect, this person must not be underestimated. Transformed into streaks of light, the group neared the cultivation star and was just about to enter the astral wind layer when Wang Lin suddenly turned his head as if casually glancing back into the starry void. From within a twisting ripple of space, a middle-aged man had emerged without anyone noticing. His gaze locked onto Wang Lin, and he showed a sinister smile. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, as if he hadn't noticed. He turned back and followed the others into the astral wind layer, vanishing from sight. Violent winds howled all around, whipping through the air. Inside, Wang Lin's heart sank. The man's gaze had fallen directly on him, immediately triggering Wang Lin's wariness and prompting his glance backward. That brief look had darkened his thoughts. The man's face was vaguely familiar. He had seen him before, fleetingly, when he first entered the ancient star of antiquity, during Tuo Sin's pursuit. One of the 3 third-step great powers chasing Tuo Sin. Now, to see him again in the land of falling stars, Wang Lin immediately understood. This man was no native of this place. He came from the ancient star of antiquity. A third-step great power appearing here could only have one purpose. Wang Lin didn't need to guess. He's come to kill me. But this likely isn't his true body, otherwise, the aura he just revealed, that of the 5th decay of heaven and man, wouldn't be so restrained. Then again, he might be concealing his cultivation. Still, he clearly fears this land of falling stars. If not, he would have struck already. The Council of Elders has acted swiftly. 5th decay of heaven and man, huh? Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with battle intent. Smirking coldly, he passed through the astral wind layer with the others and stepped onto the cultivation star. Outside the cultivation star of the Dragon Armor tribe, in the vast starry sky, Xun'er withdrew his gaze, a faint smile lingering on his lips. He hadn't expected that as soon as he arrived at the land of falling stars, he would encounter the person he was after. The other's appearance and aura had already been predicted by Grand Diviner Yun Luo, and the information had reached him in advance. With a single glance, he immediately recognized the person's identity. Such a pity, acting here would cause unnecessary disturbances. If I were to provoke the fallen emperor, it would be even worse. But since this person is on the cultivation star, he will never escape. I'll find a suitable reason to capture him. While smiling, Xun'er's gaze flashed, turning toward the distance, where a figure was swiftly approaching, laughing loudly. It was an old man with snow-white hair, wearing a blue robe, who emerged from the cultivation star of the Dragon Armor tribe. Senior Xun'er, it's been many years. Your charm remains unchanged. The old man's voice was hearty, and as he walked, the surrounding celestial energy swirled, exuding the aura of the 4th decay of heaven and man. Friend son, it's been several hundred years since our last meeting. Today, this old man is once again disturbing you. Xun'er laughed heartily and clasped his hands in greeting. When a senior like you visits, there's no such thing as disturbing. We've known each other for a long time. If it weren't for your guidance back then, I would have perished in the 3rd decay. Senior Situ, please, come to my cave mansion. The old man returned the salute with a smile. As the 9th elder of the Falling Life Society, he usually stayed away from worldly matters. But upon receiving Xun'er's divine thought transmission, he immediately came. The two exchanged pleasantries as they moved toward the cultivation star, their figures gradually fading from view. After Wang Lin and the Dark Scorpion clan chief entered the cultivation star, the 3 Dragon Armor tribe guides respectfully cupped their fists and withdrew. Once they were gone, the Dark Scorpion elder quickly led Wang Lin toward a large city in the eastern part of the cultivation star. Master, if you wish to buy puppets or flame crystals, the eastern marketplace is the place to go. There's a Dragon Armor tribe's direct shop there. Every time I come here, unless it's for a large auction, I always go there. The Dark Scorpion elder said in a low voice as they walked. Wang Lin nodded slightly, but his mind began to fill with murderous intent. He had originally planned to purchase some high-level puppets for further research, and if he could find flame crystals, he would buy them too. These items were helpful for advancing his Vermilion Bird's 4th transformation. Absorbing a large amount would bring him many benefits. Moreover, the flame crystals were connected to his quest for the Fire Sparrow clan's origin. However, after seeing Situ Maja, Wang Lin changed his mind. Since the other party was chasing him, escape was clearly impossible. Wang Lin had no intention of running. He was determined to fight here. The person hunting me didn't act earlier due to some hesitation. Now that he's here, he must have prepared a reason to kill me. Since he's cautious, that works to my advantage. And from the looks of it, he seems to have the aura of the fifth decay of heaven and man. He clearly doesn't want to reveal his full strength, or perhaps he's only here in a clone form. If it's truly a clone, I'll make sure it perishes, setting an example for others. But before the battle, I must prepare more carefully. After all, the fifth decay of heaven and man's power is not to be underestimated. Even though I've reached the full mastery of Thunder Origin, I must proceed with caution. Wang Lin's expression darkened. After confirming the direction, he grabbed the dark scorpion elder beside him. In a flash, their speed increased, and in the blink of an eye, they arrived above the eastern city. Like two shooting stars, they dashed downward. Hurry up and lead the way, Wang Lin commanded coldly after releasing the elder. The dark scorpion elder could sense the cold killing intent emanating from Wang Lin and trembled slightly. He immediately led Wang Lin through the city, and before long, they arrived at the entrance of a towering pavilion. The pavilion appeared ancient, and as soon as the two entered, a woman emerged. She appeared to be in her 30s, still graceful, and as soon as she appeared, a fragrant breeze swept through the air. Oh, isn't this the esteemed leader of the Scorpion clan? Didn't you just visit a few months ago? Could it be that you've heard I have a new treasure and have come running? The woman's voice was soft and enchanting, with a playful laugh. Her gaze swept over Wang Lin, and for a brief moment, her eyes showed a flicker of surprise. The dark scorpion elder laughed heartily and cupped his fists. I'm just accompanying this friend today, bringing him here. The woman covered her mouth with a smile, giving Wang Lin a few more looks before bowing slightly. Please, come upstairs, friend. If you need anything, just let me know. Wang Lin remained calm, offering a slight bow before following the woman upstairs. They arrived on the second floor, which was not large and had a few exquisite chairs. Wang Lin took a seat, his gaze fixed on the woman. The dark scorpion elder stood behind him without sitting. The woman studied Wang Lin carefully, and a strange light briefly flashed in her eyes before she lowered her head and spoke softly. May I ask what you need, friend? Flame crystals. Wang Lin spoke slowly, but his gaze had already moved away from her and landed on the entrance of the second floor, where a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. I want the flame crystal too. Just as Wang Lin's voice fell, a cold voice echoed from the second floor entrance. Moments later, a figure stepped forward. He wore a crimson robe, and his disheveled white hair framed a face that seemed to radiate intense heat. From within his body surged the aura of a blazing sea of fire. As he approached, a wave of scorching heat instantly filled the pavilion. Every step he took up the staircase left behind fiery footprints, clear and vivid, yet the flames didn't damage the stairs. They seemed to burn out of thin air, fading gradually into nothing. Between his brows was a flame-shaped mark, vivid and lifelike, as if it were truly burning. He reached the second floor, locking eyes with Wang Lin in an instant. Fellow Taoist, he said, you'd best leave the flame crystal to this old man. Wang Lin smiled.